Spirit lead me, inward guide me.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Junia's Insights. I'm so excited to continue down the road of this beautiful podcast and, tapping into all of the things that I feel Spirit really wants to share with you. Now, you might be asking yourself, what is this podcast about? Well, I am a Reiki master teacher. I am a spiritual healer. I am a spiritual coach. I also am a reverend of all things. I'm an ordained minister, all that jazz. I have worked very, very hard on a lot of spiritual stuff within myself and within others, and been working with a lot of different clients for an extended period of time here. And I'm really enjoying this journey, and this podcast is kind of the next leg of that. So in this podcast, what you're going to find like little nuggets of truth and of wisdom coming from the universe, spiritual wisdom that's going to be present to help you on your path of empowering yourself. So as much as I am a healer and a teacher, and I try to be a spiritual coach for other people, I really firmly believe, and my main goal is to empower my listeners, to empower my clients, to feel the strength from within and find their own inner voice and really pay attention to their intuition and to their spiritual empowerment more than anything else. So, I'm definitely kind of a firm believer that at some point in time, when the teacher is no longer needed, the student, must release the teacher and must move forward. So I am here for whoever's phase that they're going through, that they need to have somebody to kind of kick them in the tush and feel that self-empowerment or find that self-empowerment, right? But this is the journey that I've been leading down in my own life for an extended period of time, is really trying to find my inner voice and empower myself to do exactly what I'm doing with you today. Use my voice, utilize it in a way that is, meant to be shared with other people, because I feel like from a very young age, that was something that came about in my life. Like, I needed to share my voice. I needed to believe enough in it to share it with you. So here we are, and this is why I'm doing what I'm doing today. And honestly, every single podcast episode that I share with you is completely led by Spirit, and it's not something that I'm designing prior to. So just so you know, we're just kind of on the fly here together, and we're just going to let Spirit take control, and the universe is just going to do its thing, okay? I do like to pull some cards before we start down the journey together, and I want to share with you what messages Spirit really feels like you need to hear today. So I have this awesome deck. It's an Empath's Empowerment deck, and let me see here if I can grab it. If you've listened to any of my stuff before, you follow me on Facebook, and you join me for my lives, you would have seen me use this deck before. Empath's Empowerment deck, yes. This is Judith Orloff, MD. But anyway, it's 52 cards guided and a guide to inspire, I cannot talk. 52 cards to guide and inspire sensitive people. It's a beautiful deck. So the 3 cards that I pulled for you guys today, listening, and for you watching here, hi guys, we have the Stop Sensory Overload card. Stop Sensory Overload. And this one is saying, if too much is coming at you too fast, decrease your stimulation level. Take a break from people, dim the lights, and savor quietude. And then we have identify your emotional triggers. We absorb the emotions of others that remain unhealed in ourselves. Notice your triggers such as anger, fear, and gently begin to heal them. We have to feel them in order to heal them. So this is super important for us to do, is to identify these emotional triggers that are present within us, right? And I love that. I love that it's saying that how did it say it here? It said, we absorb emotions of others that remain unhealed in ourselves, which is so true. We take on so much from other people that we ourselves are dealing with, or maybe we even haven't dealt with, right? We haven't dealt with. We haven't allowed ourselves to like dive into and realize that they're there. But this is kind of the universe's way of, in a roundabout way, of telling you like, hey, this is an issue within yourself. So if you're being triggered emotionally by somebody or a specific situation, there's something going on within you that needs to be addressed. That is so uncomfortable, by the way. That is so uncomfortable. I've had a couple of moments where I have been, talking with a client or talking with somebody who, I'm working on guiding at the time frame. And I'll look at them and I'll be like, okay, I understand that this is triggering you, or this is bothering you about this person. But what about this person and this situation is within you? What is that mirror that you're looking at right now? That's a hard freaking question to answer, isn't it? Practice patience is our third card. Press the pause button. Take a day off from being frustrated with yourself or others. Patience reaps great rewards. Patience reaps great rewards. Look at that card. Yes, I freaking love the elephant too. I'm an elephant lover. Let's talk about the sensory overload aspect of life, right? We have so many things that literally, attack our senses constantly, including exactly what you're doing right now, which is listening to podcasts, listening to videos, constantly looking at TikTok, scrolling on Facebook. Like, sensory overload is constant. It is around us. Not to mention the people that we come into contact with on a daily basis. I mean, the grocery store itself is sensory overload. So how do we allow ourselves to pause from sensory overload? Yes, we can put our phones down. Yes, we can silence things. Yes, we can, turn things off for a little while and give ourselves some time of peace and quiet, which I do encourage you to dive into in your personal space in your home. Like, find a time frame for yourself where you set aside your phone, where you set aside the TV, where you turn off different things in your house and you just kind of allow yourself to be. A lot of times when I do that, I'll put aside my phone and I'll start cooking, or I'll do something that, requires me to put time and attention into it. Sometimes I'll just meditate. It just depends on where you are and what it is that you are needing to kind of decompress. But we have all of these, layers of pressure from the world around us that really overwhelm us constantly. And as people who might be a little bit more sensitive, if you have, more empathic tendencies, these things can be very draining, very overpowering. I literally just had a spiritual coaching session with someone last night that I absolutely loved. But her and I talked about how draining different situations can be and how to overcome the drained feeling that she has. A lot of times when we are as drained as we are from different things in life, from these triggers in life, it's because we are ungrounded. It's because we are unconnected to the earth. If you don't know anything about grounding, let's talk a little bit about that. It has a lot to do with your root chakra and the chakra system and feeling connected to the earth around you, right? Grounding is important for us to feel stable, secure. It's important for us to release anger and fear. So if you are not connected to the earth, if you are disconnected from your root chakra, or your root chakra is blocked, you're going to experience a lot more fear-based ideas, a lot more fear-based emotions within your body and within your system. So there's a lot of struggle that happens there. But a big thing that happens when we are blocked in our root chakra and we are not grounded is we are chronically overwhelmed by life. So how are some ways that we can maybe get grounded to help you overcome this chronic overwhelm that you're experiencing? So being grounded is sometimes just as simple as walking outside and connecting to nature. It's about your intention, though. You got to know this. And I'm going to say this probably 1,000 times in my podcast. And if you have been around me before for different sessions or tarot readings or whatever, you're going to you're going to be like, yeah, she said this before. I've heard her repeat this. But yes, it's all about your intention. Your intention is what empowers everything that you do. So especially when it comes to spiritual things in your life, right? So if you are wanting to ground, and if you're wanting to be more connected and less, overwhelmed, you have to hold the intention whenever you're doing any of the things that I'm going to talk about doing for grounding, okay? So if you're walking outside and you're putting your feet down in nature, you need to hold the intention of, I am connecting my root chakra, or I'm connecting my energetic body to the earth to ground myself and to release whatever is not serving me anymore, right? Whatever's blocking me, okay? Or to release the overwhelm, or to release the anger or the fear or whatever you're feeling in that moment that you need to let go of. So you have to have and hold that intention, yeah? Yeah. So you can go outside, obviously. Other things that I mentioned to my client the other night was water. Water in particular can be very grounding. It is very much so an amplifier of energy and intention. So your showers and your baths can be just as magical as performing some kind of a ritual or tuning into meditation. But I encourage you to kind of hold the intention when you're stepping into the bath or to the shower to ground yourself and to cleanse your body, to cleanse not only your body, but your mind, your spirit, all of it, right? So when I was regularly having clients come in and see me to receive Reiki, one of the big things that I notice is a lot of us are chronically ungrounded. It is almost every single person that walked in the door. And I had a lot of people walk through the door for a few years there to receive Reiki. And every single time I checked the root chakra, just about, everybody was blocked. Everybody was struggling with that connection. And honestly, it makes sense with the world that we live in. It makes sense with the constant overwhelm that we have in our life. Because if you think about it, technology, any kind of social media, any kind of, dealing with other people's emotions and their stuff in life, you are in your head. You're a lot in your head, and you are so much so that it becomes toxic for you, and you become, uncentered. You become in a place of lack of focus on your person, and you're more focused on the things that are outside around you or inside of your brain. And what happens here, and I really believe, and don't get me wrong, I feel like there are so many different things that definitely contribute to mental illness here, and I'm not a doctor, but I do believe that a lot of times when we are dealing with mental illness, from an energetic perspective, it has a lot to do with not being grounded and not being connected. Especially when you think about that constant overwhelm when it comes to your mental health, your mental trigger. And it just, if you look at the energetic body, it just makes complete sense. If you're constantly up here and in your head, you are not feeling grounded or connected. And of course, you're going to disassociate. Of course, you're going to have anxiety because you're not feeling supported. Of course, you're going to be depressed because you're not able to feel grounded and protected and safe. And that's the big word that happens with our root chakra, is safety. So if you take nothing else away from this, then just take away the idea that you need to be grounded. You need to find grounding. And I really feel like the majority of you that are listening to this are probably struggling with grounding right now. So make that a part of your regular self-care. Make that a part of something that you do for yourself consistently, is grounding yourself. Okay. And I love that we get the card of identify your emotional triggers along with the stop sensory overload, because I feel like in order to really feel grounded within yourself and connected to yourself and the world around you, you have to identify the things that are causing you, to get up in your head, the things that are causing you to disconnect from feeling safe, right? Because that's what emotional triggers do to us a lot. They disconnect us from that level of safety and comfort that to the point where we feel, once again, overwhelmed. So we got to identify the root cause here. We got to identify the emotional trigger that, starts us in sensory overload, that starts us in that sense of overwhelm, right? In order to really fully heal. And then I do love the practice patience card. I feel like I need to come back to that one too, because it talks about, in the card itself, it says, press the pause button and take a day off from being frustrated with yourself and others. Patience reaps great rewards. So basically what I feel like that with that, like, it's very easy to be like, okay, I need to be patient with other people. I need to be more patient with them, and I need to make sure that I'm allowing and giving them space to make mistakes, to falter and fail, and to fall flat on their face. But are you doing that for yourself? I don't think so. A lot of us really struggle. We really significantly struggle with allowing ourselves to have the space to fail or to falter or to not be on it constantly, right? You don't have to be on top of things constantly in order to be of value or of worth, right? I know that's easier said than done here, and I know that, it's very hard for some people to actually hear that, but we are constantly in a state of, and we're sold this by our society. We are definitely sold on a regular basis that we have to perform. We have to perform in order to be of value. But you don't. You don't have to perform in order to be of value. The fact that you are living and you are breathing and you decided to freaking be here is value enough. Okay? Cool. I'm glad we're, agreeing here. I'm glad you can kind of hear what I'm saying. It's important that you do. Yeah? So, identifying emotional triggers, stop your sensory overload, and practice some patience. I feel like if I could give you homework this week, that would be your homework, especially the practicing the patience part with yourself, because as you are dealing with sensory overload and overwhelm and trying to figure out how to ground yourself in this crazy world, because let's face it, even when I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, do this to ground, you can work on this, you can take a shower to ground yourself, actually putting those things into practice is very, very difficult in our life when we're so used to being overwhelmed. Because guess what? That just adds an extra thing on the list of to do, right? Yeah. So, but what we do is we don't prioritize our list very well, do we? A lot of times we put other things in like a higher priority than we would put ourselves. So if you actually strip away everything and you look at it and you take a look at the list of things that you have to do in a day, you should be number one on that list, shouldn't you? So grounding yourself shouldn't be an overwhelmed kind of thing. It should be very simple. It should become second nature for you. Taking care of yourself should become second nature for you. If you go back and you listen to my very first podcast, it's Invest in You. We discuss a little bit about how important it is to actually like tune into yourself and take care of yourself. This is an extension of that. Identifying your emotional triggers and allowing yourself to release this overwhelm, this overload that you are just like pouring in constantly. Or I shouldn't say you are by saying yes to the world around you, like allowing them to pour it on top of you, okay? So sometimes you just need to pause. Sometimes you just need to stop. You need to back away and you need to give yourself some time to find that ground, whatever that is for you, whatever space you need to create for yourself to find some grounding energy, okay? Maybe it's sitting and listening to a grounding sound bath. I mean, that can be healing within itself, is finding a video on YouTube and listening to something that's very grounding for you. By the way, just a heads up, I do have a YouTube channel, so if you're watching this video right now, you're definitely on my YouTube. Please subscribe and continue to share my stuff. I am trying to build my following on YouTube, so I appreciate you guys kind of tuning in here. But on my YouTube channel, I have a couple of different videos that kind of help you to, step out of the overwhelm and maybe recenter your energy. There are some videos that assist with grounding. There's like a couple of sound baths that are present, but also there's a negativity detox video that I absolutely love, which is me sharing Reiki with you, and also a little bit of a meditation to kind of help soothe your energy and get you redirected and refocused, right? So please tune into that if you feel led to do so. I'm also on TikTok and Facebook, Junia Spiritual Intuitive. You can find me on there. I encourage you to keep empowering your voice, keep searching after the things that you need in your life to make you feel stronger in you, right? And the more grounded you feel, the more strength you will have with yourself and with your voice. So please empower yourself by grounding yourself and keeping yourself connected to the world around you. And by the world around you, I don't mean other people. I don't mean, keeping in tune with the news or anything like that. When I say the world around you, I mean the actual earth itself. Yeah? The earth that is a series of energetic lines that create a beautiful grid that we are a part and an intrinsic part of that grid. You need to connect to that grid and realize that you are a part of a bigger whole. That's a big part of what grounding makes you feel, is like you're not alone and that you are safe and secure because of the earth that you are standing on. Yeah? Okay. Take care of you. And until next time, guys, please only take what resonates and leave what doesn't. And I can't wait to talk to you again in the future. Keep on listening and keep on taking care of the most important person in your life, you.